evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2022 UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame induction ceremony. On behalf of UNLV, the Athletics Department, and the entire Athletics Hall of Fame Board, I thank you for being here this evening. But first I need to recognize Mike and Cheryl and the Thomas and Mack Center staff for hosting us in this beautiful space. Also, thanks to Michael Gahn and Steve Stallworth and the team over at the South Point Hotel. The South Point Hotel is graciously hosting our out-of-town inductees. I also want to thank all of our table sponsors who are listed on the back of your program for their very generous support for this evening. Thank you very much. Every few years, the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame Board works very hard to select and vote on the best representatives for this great honor. Without question, we have accomplished that goal again tonight with all of our inductees. After being named Director of Athletics by our President, Dr. Keith E. Whitfield, who you'll hear from later, I tasked the board with resurrecting this ceremony for the first time in 5 years in order to properly honor the best of the best in our proud Rebel tradition. So we fittingly gather here on campus to honor 7 former student athletes, 1 legendary head coach, a former longtime staff member, and 2 even longer time distinguished contributors who together make up the class of 2022. I want to say congratulations to Wink, Amanda, Elena, Anderson, Therese, and Ryan. They have set very high standards of competition in their respective sports. Let me convey my appreciation to our 2 longtime team optometrists, Craig and Keith. And a special head coach, and here's to the longest serving head coach in UNLV history and one of the most successful, Jim Reitz. And finally, our Silver Rebel Award winner, and someone that has just absolutely knocked perseverance, guts, determination, just completely out of the universe, and that's Simon Keith. The Hall of Fame Board is comprised of members from campus, the athletics department, and representatives from the Southern Nevada community, along with 4 former Rebel student athletes. These individuals worked very hard as a team in not only reviewing the nominations we received from the public and voting on each nominee, but also attending regular meetings and spending a lot of hours planning and putting on this memorable event. At this time, I would like to acknowledge our board. As I read your name, please stand and remain standing while we hold our applause until the end. Mike Ketchum, Mallory Poole, Eric Swartz, Von Kadlebeck, Blake Douglas, Mark Wallington, Dick Calvert, Ted Quirk, Bruce Bain, Ray Brewer, Savannah Stallworth, Tina Mabanta, Michael Core, Kelly Maruka, Caleb Herring, Leon Samansky, Melissa Meacham-Grossman, and Rebecca Pugh. Thank you. Also want to thank some others in our talented athletics department for making this night a success. Jackie Perez, my administrative assistant. Stephanie Valentino, Sarah Masinski, Andrew Ryan Bass, Kelly McGinnis, Tasha Smith, Allison Kelly, Kelsey Olson, and a special shout out to Ricky Witt and Matt Stick, who are from our creative team who produced the wonderful induction videos you'll see here shortly. Please give them a round of applause. We also have some Rebel head coaches in attendance. From football, Marcus Arroyo. Women's golf, Amy Bush-Herzer. Men's and women's swimming and diving, Ben Loers. Women's soccer, Jenny Ruiz-Williams. Men's golf, AJ McInerney and Dwayne Knight. And last and certainly not least, our most recent Mountain West regular season champion, for baseball, Coach Stan Stolte. Just finished the season taking 2 of 3 from that team called San Diego State and clinching the Mountain West tournament, a trip to the Mountain West tournament and the regular season title. Great job, Stan. And also want to recognize previous Hall of Fame inductees who are in attendance tonight. Men's golf, Jeremy Anderson. Baseball, Eric Nielsen. And football, Dr. Tony Terrell. I believe Fearless Freddie Banks stepped in, stepped out because he wanted to go watch a basketball game that's on the NBA or something like that. But our own committee's own distinguished contributor, Mr. Dick Calvert. Thank you for helping make UNLV athletics what it is today, and thank you for being here tonight. I want to give a special shout out to our Hall of Fame committee chair, Mr. Mark Wellington. Mark has done a fantastic job keeping the committee on task throughout the process of getting to this day. Mark, you are appreciated, and please know you make a difference and a significant impact on the success of UNLV athletics every single day. How about a round of applause for Mark Wellington? The guy works at the meeting, he's trying to hide behind the sign over there. Finally, the success of UNLV athletics, including this Hall of Fame, requires a tremendous amount of support from the university. From the time Dr. Whitfield took over as our president, he has been nothing but supportive of our efforts. He has been so supportive, he gave me the opportunity to give away free tuition up to 12 hours during one of our Running Rebel basketball games this year. And when I asked him that question, he looked at me. He wasn't really sure what I was asking, I don't think. But he looked at me and says, I'm trying to figure out why this is not a good idea. And we went through a few other questions as only Dr. Whitfield could do. And he says, all right, I'm in. But the thing that was most interesting about it, he shot it out of the t-shirt cannon into the student section. The first president in the history of the t-shirt cannon to ever shoot the t-shirt cannon at a basketball game, and that was Dr. Whitfield. So as Dr. Whitfield makes his way to the stage, in closing, on behalf of the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame Board, I want to thank you for your attendance and support this evening. And it is my pleasure to introduce the 11th president in the history of UNLV, Dr. Keith E. Whitfield.
That made me famous for shooting. I am getting a little bit of a chuckle out of the idea that I guess I'll go down in history as the president who shut off the t-shirt cannon. I guess you could be known for other things. Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm gonna give you another shot. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It's probably that giant steak that is keeping you from being louder. I can understand that. I'm still trying to clean my plate. Welcome to the first UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame ceremony since 2017. Seeing all of your smiling faces is really gratifying. This is a comeback event for many of you, but it's my distinct pleasure to be here for the first time as president of UNLV, and it's really an honor. I do have to tell you, one of the other things that I do want to go down in history and being known for is hiring what I believe is the best athletic director in the country currently. That is Mr. Erick Harper. In my role as president, I have to make a lot of decisions. Not everybody loves all of them. But one of the ones that has come with a great amount of consensus is that Erick is going to provide the leadership that we need. We have these incredible coaches, we have these incredible student athletes, and we have momentum building. And you have to have that right person at the helm when the momentum is going on or it'll crash. He is the right person at the right time. And we are going to continue to see another shout out to the baseball team. Congratulations. I am all about trying to make this university one that people understand how good it is. And let's understand, if you're doing well with athletics, people pay more attention to everything else going on. So I appreciate what you all are doing. You know, the pandemic has made the past 2 years very challenging, to say the least. But now we're emerging stronger and ever ready to meet the future. But tonight we gather to celebrate greatness in Rebel athletics by paying tribute to an incredible group of Hall of Fame inductees whose contributions stretch back to the 1980s right up till today. It's gratifying to honor so many men's and women's sports tonight, 7 in total, with a large class of 11 inductees. I'm thrilled to welcome you all to UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, and just for all of us, let's have another round of applause for us being here in person. Now, with this induction ceremony, our 15th, dating back to 1987, the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame will now grow to 133 members, still a very elite group. Athletics are a vital element of not only campus life at UNLV, but for the community at large. For many fans and community members, it's their introduction to our university and the way they stay connected with us. And as our teams excel, they generate national headlines and carry our banner and our pride into the wider world. For our student athletes, we hope that their time on campus led to great success academically and in competition. Participating in intercollegiate athletics also prepared them for life after graduation, teaching them both individual character and working as teammates to achieve goals. Skills that no doubt will serve them very, very well in their future professions. Again, it's a special thrill for me to be here tonight with all of you all. I congratulate all of our inductees. And as we like to say around here, but it's very special tonight, go Rebels!
Thank you, Dr. Whitfield and Erick. You guys ready to get this party started? In the words of our own legendary Dick Calvert, it's time to roll out that red carpet for our Hall of Fame inductees. And we start our ceremony with a very special presentation. It's called the Silver Rebel Award. It's a prestigious honor that is presented to the Hall of Fame's executive board to a former UNLV player, coach, or staff member whose efforts earn positive recognition for the university after leaving campus. The Las Vegas community has been well aware of the accomplishments of Mr. Simon Keith for a whole long time. The two-time all-conference soccer player for Barry Bardo's Powerhouse Rebels gained recognition for playing at an elite collegiate level after undergoing the first of 2 heart transplants. English-born and Canadian-raised, Simon made international news as the world's first athlete to play professionally after that life-changing procedure. Now one of the longest living organ transplant recipients in the world, he is nationally known as an inspirational author, speaker, and entrepreneur. In 2011, he founded the Simon Keith Foundation. That's a nonprofit that is dedicated to increasing organ donor awareness and educating transplant recipients. Please direct your attention to the video screen here behind me to learn more about the man who has shown an endless amount of heart.
I'm Simon Keith, played soccer here from 1987 to 1989, and I'm a rebel. UNLV came along at a very important time in my life. I had just had a heart transplant in 1986, and Coach Barry Bartow offered me a place for me to recover, a refuge to be young and athletic again. And just to become a rebel was maybe the best 2 years of my life in terms of athletic competition and reconnecting with my brother. It just meant so much to me to be a member of the UNLV family. Coming out of UNLV and getting drafted and getting drafted #1 overall was, again, another incredible moment for me and my family and my brother and the program. And spent a lot of time in the pros, half a dozen years, and most of it was playing a little bit, doing a lot of media, playing a little bit, doing a lot of media. And I didn't love being the heart guy as a professional athlete, but it was, again, a special time for me and sort of breaking down barriers. And being the first heart transplant recipient to play pro sports was certainly the path least traveled. So at the time, you don't think too much of it, but it's been 30 plus years now, and again, just super fortunate to be healthy and be able to do that. I think for me, being a rebel means going against the grain and pushing limits and going places that not everyone's willing to go. As it relates to my athletic career, it was just the perfect match for me. And everything about being a rebel suits me. I'm just repugnant enough to fit in. And I'm a proud rebel. I'll always be a rebel. And maybe the best decision, one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life was to come to UNLV.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help us in welcoming the 4th winner of the Hall of Fame Silver Rebel Award, Mr. Simon Keith.
Thank you so much. You're going to get tired of standing up. Dick Calvert, my friend, how are you? Thank you so much. We're all here and we all gathered tonight and we all made a choice to come to Las Vegas and be UNLV Rebels. Yes. Right, man, right. Yes. And for me, it happened. I'm only going to thank 3 people tonight. When you get up here, you want to thank every single people. I brought a lot of people. Thank you for coming. But I want to thank 3 people. One, you saw in the videos, my brother. Adam was an All-American junior college soccer player who came to UNLV and invited me down post-transplant, me and 4 or 5 of my pals. We drank beer the whole road trip. We got here. We had a tryout. Harp, I don't know if it was an illegal tryout. But it was just coincidental that all the soccer guys were at the same place at the same time in their uniforms playing, and Coach Bartow showed up. So Adam allowed me to crash his party, and I met this fantastic man, Coach Bartow, and Coach said to me, "Listen, you can clearly play, but I got to ask you one question. I don't know how I'm going to feel if you die on the field." If you don't know Coach, that's charming for him. So I said, "Coach, don't worry, I'm not going to die." And Coach, you made the very simple but significant decision to allow me to play, which was an insane decision to allow a kid who was 21 years old, who 12 months earlier had his heart taken out of his chest and powered by a pacemaker, to play in 110 degrees here in Las Vegas. Adam, I don't get to say it publicly. I love you. I love you for everything you've done for me, everything you've done for our family, everything you do for your family. And Adam's a year older than me. And Adam, if we would have said to me when you were 12 and I was 11 that we'd be living in Las Vegas and been uber successful, I know what would have happened. You would have punched me, I would have cried, and I would have went to mom. So excuse my language, you, I love you. So I'm almost done. Mark, I'm almost done. I'm on 3 minutes, right on the minute here. So the last person, like many of us, we've built our life in Las Vegas. We've absolutely loved it. I met my wife in Western Canada, post-career, and I said to her, when we're done, we're gonna move to Las Vegas. She looked at me like your spouse has looked at you. You are absolutely crazy. We're not moving to Las Vegas. We've been here for 30 plus years. My wife is the most spectacular person I've ever met. She's the center of our world. I love you, Kel. She has literally saved my life numerous times and just is the most spectacular person. Harp, Mark Wellington, thank you so much. Dick Calvert, everybody else on the committee. Guys at my table, thank you. Thank you for coming down. Thank you so much.
Our first Hall of Fame inductee tonight seemed to be recruited to UNLV as much by his own mother than he was by Lon Kruger and his staff. His first name is Jovan, but he's known around these parts simply as Wink. A 4-year starter at guard for the Runnin' Rebels, he is the famed program's only 4-year all-conference honoree since the end of the magical Jerry Tarkanian era. The 4-star recruit out of Houston was a top 20 prep signee, and he sure lived up to the billing and more before leaving campus. Wink, who tied the school record with 8 steals in one game, also stole fans' hearts with that monster game against BYU in the Mountain West tournament that propelled the Runnin' Rebels to that league title and a memorable Sweet 16 run that year that included a big upset win over Wisconsin in Chicago at the United Center. Please direct your attention to the video boards as we take a look at Wink Adams.
I'm Wink Adams, going for the Runnin' Rebels from 2005, 2009, and I am a rebel. When I was around 5 or 6, fashion kind of came in, and my first hat, my first jacket, piece of college clothing was UNLV. If you're from Texas, you know how big Larry Johnson was back in those days, and I was watching Rebels stand up, watching those games, not really knowing what I'm watching because I'm so young, but I just kind of got attracted to it. UNLV was everywhere. Watching TV, you seen rappers, hip hop, everybody was wearing UNLV gear. Coach told me before the game, we was at Foothill High School. He was like, hey, man, UNLV is at the game. You got a coach here for the game. I just kind of went into a zone. I was like, man, I got to show off for this coach because I really want to go to this school, but he don't know it. So I think we played at Foothill. We played a team from California. I think I had like 41, 42 points. A couple of fans was there. And before I even got home, I had a letter from UNLV. And then when the ranking, Rivals.com, when they called me, I had my list already. They asked me, they was like, who is your top 5? UNLV wasn't even on the list. And when they asked me the next week, UNLV was at the number 1. I put them at number 1 on my list. I was like, UNLV is in the picture now. And that's how it happened. When you come to Vegas, these dudes is like, when sharks and blood is in the water. These guys never stop coming. They always come and they always fighting. And we took pride in that because that's how we want to play. And I think that's, that was the bar set, from the talk days. And I think we kind of emulated it. We couldn't go as far, but I think we emulated it, man, just leaving it all on the floor, blood, sweat, and tears. I probably would have never thought, Vegas would be my second hometown, man. Just never thought about it. If you would have told me my sophomore, junior in high school, hey, man, you go be in Las Vegas, I'd have been like, man, you crazy. Unbelievable. Becoming a Hall of Famer means everything to me, man, because, it represents a lot of people. This accomplishment. Sometimes you just play the game just to have fun and be a competitor, and you really don't play for accolades, but you know, when they happen, man, you know, you just reflect on what got you there. You know, my mom, friends, coaches, just people that's been around. And, you know, man, it's a big accomplishment, man. It's something that my daughter can, you know, grow up and say, hey, my dad is a Hall of Famer at UNLV. You know, that's something I pride myself on, my character. So it's a big plus for me, man. It's a major accomplishment.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join the Board of Directors in welcoming the newest member of the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, Mr. Jovan Wink Adams.
How's everybody doing tonight? Tonight, you know, the biggest thing has been, I didn't prepare a speech because I wanted to make this, you know, sincerely from my heart. You know, I want to thank the university for, you know, allowing me to further my education. You know, Lon Kruger and his coaching staff for putting so much faith in me to carry a team at such a young age. You know, I want to thank God for blessing me with the talent to even be able to play the game of basketball the way I do. Like I said, I play the game, you know, for no accolades, for no special treatment. I just love competing. You know, I grew up, you know, a single mother home. My mother worked 2 jobs, but she found time to take me to the gym, keep me out of trouble. Kind of made me tougher, made me focus on things and knowing how to be a winner on and off the court. And, you know, I got people I want to thank. You know, tonight was more of me thanking people who helped me on this journey, because it wasn't just me. You know, my teammates, Rene Rougeau, Kevin Kruger, you know, Louis Armisen, all them guys play a big part of why I'm standing up here today. I got my brother, you know, Woody. Excuse me. You know, he supported me through a lot. You know, growing up, he made me tougher. You know, at practice, man, he challenged me to be better, challenged me to be a man. And every day, you know, he called me, check on me. When I'm good or bad, you know, that guy I can always depend on. You know, I love him for it. I love you. You know, you know, my in-laws, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, you know, I'm thanking these people because, you know, basketball didn't define me, but it made me mature. You know, people like my in-laws, you know, gave me somebody to look at. You know, the coaching staff, Lon Kruger and them, you know, UNLV was it was much more than the basketball to me. You know, I was getting those play uncles that you need growing up, you know, guys to look at, how to present yourself, how to speak. You know, I had that with Lon Kruger and the coaching staff. I had that with some of my teammates. When Kevin came, he was a big part of, you know, how to be a leader on the court. Kevin taught me that. You know, I thank them guys for that. My in-laws, you know, God has blessed me with a mother and a father, a 2-parent home, something I didn't grow up in, but, you know, they accepted me from day one. You know, taught me so much on and off the court. It's a big part of why I'm standing up here right now. I love them. I thank you guys. The most important thank you of tonight, I was waiting to do this. My beautiful wife, my daughter, they support me. You know, my wife been with me for 15 years now. She supported me through my down times, my good times, good games, bad games. She's been there for me no matter what, man. You know, I can always depend on that woman. I'm up here right now as a man, as an ex-rebel, but, man, she means the world to me. My daughter, she's so smart. You know, those two make what you see up here today. You know, I'm so grateful. You know, just to be up here right now, I'm so grateful to represent the Adams family, to represent the UNLV. You know, every day I go out into the city and I want to be transparent. You know, I don't want to be just a guy who people be like, man, that's Wink playing for UNLV. I want to be a guy who people see, you can see me, you can talk to me. You know, I'm like the guy next door. You know, you can always see me. You know, I never try to put myself on a pedestal. I just love, you know, everything that I did for the school did for me, my teammates. I love representing this brand, UNLV. It's me. I bleed running rebel red, you know, so every day, you know, you might see me in red, you'll never see me in a blue suit, you know. I'm always in red, man. I love the school that much, man. This is a dream school to come here. Like I said, you know, watching Anderson Hunt and those guys back in the days, man, this was really a dream school to me. I really wanted to come here, and like I said, I thank the university. I thank Lon Kruger, all those guys for giving me that opportunity to fulfill my dream. Thank you to my family. Thank you to the fans. And thank you again for this honor. Thank you.
Our next honoree is a hometown hero. In fact, the only one in our class who grew up right here in Las Vegas. And like Wink, she also used some urging from her mother to make it into the scarlet and gray. In fact, Amanda Bingson didn't plan on competing in collegiate track and field, but was convinced to walk on in her local school's program. The product of our own Silverado High School, took up throwing the hammer once on campus, and progressed from conference champion to three-time All-American to national record holder to U.S. Olympian at the London Games, and even a product spokesperson and advocate for body positivity. Now the greatest thrower in school history becomes the first to be enshrined by her university. Let's throw it over to the video screen now for more on Amanda Bingson.
Hi, I'm Amanda Bingson. I threw for the women's track and field team at UNLV from 2008 to 2012, and I will always be a rebel. My mom actually made me walk on to the team at UNLV because I just wanted to not go to university. I just wanted to work and just be, you know, a normal person. And then my mom told me no, I wasn't allowed to. So walked on to UNLV, and then after that, my freshman year got pretty good, pretty fast. And then my coach wouldn't let me leave. So then I just stayed on the path. Probably my favorite memory at UNLV would definitely be with my teammates, but having that kind of camaraderie was definitely the best because we're all come together as a team. And so being in that kind of an environment with the teammates that I had, you know, anytime we traveled was always a memorable moment. My definition of being a rebel is honestly just making it work. Like, you get whatever's thrown at you, you take it on the chin, you put your head down, you steamroll it through, and then you finish out with a smile, whatever it is. That's what being a rebel is having that, you know, when you walk into a room, you kind of, you know, you stand up a little bit straighter, your shoulders go back a little bit more because you're more confident because you know that you can handle whatever is thrown at you. But then being able to finish your degree, getting that degree and having a path forward in life, being able to push through that and achieve that is what makes you a rebel. Is because it's whatever's thrown at you, you're gonna get it done, and do it with a smile. Getting inducted into the Hall of Fame as a hammer thrower coming out of Las Vegas, being raised in Vegas, going through all that is just that kind of cherry on the top for me in my career, because it's just like, hey, like, not only am I proud of that, but also that I was trying to, you know, do proud, that I was trying to, you know, also do proud, thought I was good. Thought I was good.
Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, Miss Amanda Bingson.
committed now. Okay, hold on. Whew. I didn't go to school for public speaking. So, you know, it's weird, because growing up here in Vegas, my parents started a small construction company out in the valley, and every summer they would drag me and my sister with them to help out, as all they do. And my sister would usually end up in the office doing some odd jobs around there, but I would always be out at the job sites with my dad. And so I would be, you know, digging holes, laying concrete, and doing everything else that the guys would do on the job sites. And it was there on the job sites that my dad not only taught me the importance of having a strong back, but also good work ethic and the importance of finishing a task at hand. And like, well, that video said, after a strongly worded conversation from my mother, she really did make me an offer I couldn't refuse. And, you know, it's true what they say, that mothers really do know what's best. Because it turns out that me walking onto the team at UNLV ended up being the best decision I ever made. And like it also said, I didn't want to come to UNLV, let alone college. I figured I would just graduate high school, go work on the Strip for a little bit, and then take over the family business as expected. But I'm really glad that didn't work out. So, it's weird though, because, you know, hell, I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. All right. So I can stand up here and tell you about all the great times and questionable times I had at UNLV, but since I'm being honest, being a college athlete sucks. I mean, I hated it. It was hard. Talking about like 4 a.m. wake-ups, practice at 6, class at 8:30, do that whole thing until about 2 o'clock, go to work at 3, get off at 11, and then hopefully be showered and passed out by 12:30, because then we had to do it all over again. And that's what it was. And I mean, I remember one time actually that I walked into class and I saw my brother Aaron Reed, who I grew up with and actually played football for UNLV. And I was just asking him, like, why? Why do we do this to ourselves? And why couldn't we just live out our glory days in high school? And he just looked at me with no hesitation and just told me, because we love to hate it. And it's true. I did. I mean, we would be bruised up, broken down. I mean, right, you know, like you would hate your life because of how hard you worked out. But it didn't matter. I mean, I even broke my own back throwing, to be honest. But God knows, 6 a.m. next morning, I was there with a smile. Because that's what you're supposed to do when you're trying to achieve something that you hope to be exceptional at. You take those beatings and you take those struggles and you just smile through it. Because when that opportunity finally comes, not only for me personally did I know I deserved it, but I could handle anything that came with it. And UNLV gave me that. UNLV gave me the opportunity to achieve those goals with the endless possibilities and literally the incredible experiences that I've had. But of course, out at UNLV, it comes with a price, because it's really easy for that one opportunity to turn into a downfall. You know, living in Vegas and growing up here, it's really easy to kind of turn in and fall into that lavish Vegas lifestyle that we all see on the televisions, right? No last calls, no closing times, and literally anything you can possibly imagine available at your fingertips for 24/7. And it's easy to get caught up in all that and then turn your back on what you wanted to achieve. And when I was competing, one of my sponsors actually asked me that, is how did you ever find success in a place like Sin City? And what is the difference between being a runner-up and being a world champion? And I told him, with that smug smile on my face, of course, that it's just 1%. It's just a 1% of giving a damn about what you're doing. So at university, it was not going to that EDC festival because, you know, you'd probably make a really great, horrible decision, or not, instead of just doing your workout within purpose and intent. In life, it's cleaning up that mess over on the floor that you know you didn't make but have seen 5 people walk over, or putting your damn shopping cart back in the damn corral over in the Walmart parking lot. It's just that 1%. Just that 1% of effort that most people overlook. And that's why I'm able to stand here tonight and be inducted into the UNLV Athletic Hall of Fame. Is because of that 1%. But it wasn't the 1% that I gave. It was the 1% that I received from my family, from my coaches, and from this university. So, with all that, thank you to UNLV and everybody who had a hand in it and just giving a damn about me and my dreams. Cheers.
Our next inductee, unfortunately, could not be with us tonight, but that does not diminish the eye-popping accomplishments of Elena Gantcheva, the only woman in program history to earn top 10 rankings in both singles and doubles. She became the first tennis player in Mountain West history to claim at least a share of league MVP honors 3 times during her career. The 2005 Conference Freshman of the Year followed that up by becoming a sophomore All-American, after rising as high as number 8 in the nation. A 7-time All-Conference honoree in singles and doubles, she ranked second at UNLV with 5 individual NCAA bids and led her team to 3 appearances in the national tournament. The native of Sofia, Bulgaria, she also left as the winningest singles player in Mountain West history. We'd love to show you more about Elena Gantcheva.
Hi, my name is Elena Gantcheva, women's tennis, 2004 to 2008, and I will always be a rebel. It started off as a joke a little bit. I was telling my friends from Europe that I was gonna go play college tennis in Las Vegas, and they were trying to convince me that that's just a gaming zone and they don't have universities. And I was saying, no, I'm pretty sure they have one, and I was really excited to come to UNLV. I was 18 years old, and my friend at the time lived in Las Vegas, and I wasn't really talking to any other universities. I knew this was gonna be the place for me. That's the first thing, that's the most dear memory when I think of Las Vegas. Obviously the success, all the people, the nice people that I've met, but the first thing that comes to mind is that's where I started my family, that's where I met my husband, my children were born there. It's always gonna be very, very dear place to me because that's where it all started. It was a cultural shock, yes. It was a little bit different than what I imagined. Of course, the heat was a shock, the desert heat. People were very friendly. It was my second home. My favorite memory at UNLV was winning the conference title my senior year when it came down to my court to clinch, and I think it was at TCU, playing against TCU. We had fallen short a few times before that, so that was really our last chance. I think after the last point, I threw my racket up in the air, and it's what every athlete lives for, moments like that. I'm incredibly proud. I know I'm in great company. There's some tremendous athletes that have been inducted. I'm just really proud of myself and of my effort to be able to finally get to this point.
Ladies and gentlemen, here to accept by video, please join the Board of Directors in welcoming just the second women's tennis player enshrined into the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, Miss Elena Gantcheva.
Hello, everyone. It's such an honor to be here tonight, virtually speaking. I really regret not being able to attend in person. I feel so proud of the fact that I'm joining such an elite, amazing group of student athletes. These 4 years at UNLV were a crazy ride. I know that being a student athlete in a foreign country is a great privilege and one that I never took for granted. I have so many great memories as a rebel, both on and off the court. Team trips with the girls, competing hard, winning and losing some, and best of all, finishing my career by clinching the conference title. These kind of moments still put a big smile on my face. There were some good lessons learned along the way too. Learning to deal with both success as well as disappointment, and basically just growing as a player and a person both. One of the biggest challenges I overcame was to become a team player while playing 100% individual sport. To figure out how to focus on my court while still putting the team first. Balancing academics and athletics was also a skill that I acquired that still helps me today in everyday life. I've met so many great people and created friendships for life. I even got myself a husband and two wonderful children as a result. I met my husband Henner here, who is also a former tennis player rebel, and we continuously teased one another about who was still holding which school record. Well, by being here tonight, I think I can now tell him I win. Las Vegas will always be my second home after living here for 13 years. It all started at UNLV, and it was the beginning of my American dream. I want to thank the athletic department and my coach Kevin for their support and for making it possible for us international student athletes to come to the US, compete in a sport that we love so much while earning a degree at the same time. I feel so fortunate to have had this experience, and this induction tonight into the UNLV Athletic Hall of Fame is simply the best finish that I could have ever imagined. Thank you all, God bless, and go Rebels.
And we'd like to thank UNLV assistant tennis coach Tanya Luzanska for accepting the award on her behalf. All right, up next, you will not be seeing double, although it may look that way. Our next induction is a unique one. Doctors Craig Hamilton and Keith Cohorst are the first honorees in our Hall of Fame's history to go in as a duo. And that seems only fitting for two men who have been partners in business and serving patients for more than 3 decades. In fact, their optometry practice has been home to UNLV athletic vision needs for nearly 50 years, as Hamilton has served as optometrist for the department since 1974 and Cohorst since joining him in 1989. Having seen countless Rebel players, coaches, staff, and their families, the duo continues to be the preferred optometry choice for sports team, both amateur and professional throughout Southern Nevada. Please pay attention here to the video board as we see more about our distinguished contributors.
My name's Keith Cohorst. I've been UNLV's team optometrist since 1988.
My name is Craig Hamilton. I've been the team optometrist since 1974.
I played football in Cincinnati Moeller High School back in Ohio and was recruited to play at UNLV back in 1980. Came out, had a somewhat illustrious career as a football player, and I figured out I probably better go to class and become a doctor. So I was looking into optometry, and I got hooked up with Dr. Hamilton through the athletic department and actually worked for him for a couple summers delivering glasses, and from there it just went to optometry school. And then when I was done, he was nice enough to offer me a job back in Las Vegas, and been here ever since.
I grew up in San Francisco, went through high school in San Francisco, went to the other school in the state for undergraduate, and came here in 1974 with my wife Tina, who was a teacher, and Keith and Steve Stallworth became early friends through the football program. And the reason I helped out as a UNLV optometrist, Coach Dallimore was the baseball coach at the time, and I'd known him from Reno. And I called him one day after I saw him on television. He said, "Come in and help us, you know about sports, and help us out." So I've been here ever since and loved it.
One of my memories of the olden days was one of the receivers was having trouble catching the ball, and we came in and checked him, and He had a weak muscle in one eye, so anytime he looked over his left shoulder, he'd see double. So unfortunately, there was no way to fix it, so we just had to tell the coaches, don't run him down the right side of the field. So it's like, and they didn't, and he did fairly well over the years. But
Having been on the selection committee for several years, realizing how strict they are and how they're really looking at the reputation of UNLV, it's just a complete honor for us to be selected and go through this process. So we thank you.
I knew early on in my athletic career at UNLV I wasn't going to get in as an offensive center. You know, it was nice meeting Craig and going to optometry school, getting out, and then being able to work with UNLV. It's been a blast. I mean, we love seeing the players. The athletes are fun to work with. It's a whole different vibe, and you know, it's fun with. And then it's great to be recognized for our longevity and you know, those kind of things, and I appreciate it. It's quite an honor for us. I'm Keith Cohorst, and I'm proud to be a Rebel.
I'm Craig Hamilton, and I'm thrilled to be a Rebel.
Can't ad-lib.
Yes, I can. Watch.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join the board of directors in welcoming the newest members of the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, Dr. Craig Hamilton and Dr. Keith Cohorst.
Going to stay there? All right. Yeah. My bodyguard. People often say if you find a job you love, you should never feel you've worked in a day in your life. I was lucky to choose a career in optometry, which has always allowed me to have that feeling. My wife Tina and I moved here from Los Angeles. Clark County had only 212,000 people. Now it's over 2.2 million. Yes, we have seen a few changes. In the early years, Tina taught school first grade for Clark County School District, worked in our office on Saturdays. I thank her for all the support all these years. As we tried to serve the athletes and staff of UNLV, the referrals of family and friends helped to grow our practice, which is always appreciated. We became rebels the moment we arrived in Las Vegas. I would like to at least say that I have amazing memories of the years of Jerry Tarkanian, Lon Kruger, Tony Knapp, Harvey Hyde, Fred Dallimore, Dwayne Knight, Owen Hambrick, Dave Rice, he's right there, okay, Barry Bardo, and Jim Reitz. I would like to give a special recognition and congratulations to my fellow inductee and former colleague and friend, Jerry Koloskie, and his staff. I want to thank our staff at the office, who we've always called family: Linda Moritz, Candy Hedrick, Cheryl Norman, Marcia Chavez. They have coordinated with trainers and coaches to schedule eye care of UNLV, the Aviators, Clark County School District, the Thunder, and now the Raiders. Our office has checked, this is kind of an interesting thing, our office has checked the number of eyes equivalent to all the people who would fill a Thomas and Mack 5 times. I'd like to say a special thank you to my wife Tina, my son Ryan, his wife Lisa, a UNLV graduate, our 3-year-old grandson Blake, as well as all friends and family here to share this night and to support, and for their support throughout my life. After many years of the Hall of Fame Selection Committee in the past, I understand and truly appreciate and am humbled by this honor. Thank you for the many wonderful and satisfying years of being able to do a job that I loved. It has definitely not seemed like work. Thank you again, and go Rebels.
Mark would like me to say ditto, I think, and call it a day. But a very good friend of mine, Steve Stallworth, said, write something down. So I wrote something down. It's a crisp 90 minutes, but, you know, settle in. So thanks to the selection committee. This was kind of out of the blue. I had no idea this was going to happen. So the other inductees, congratulations. So I would like to thank my partner in crime, Craig. He brought me in as a young person. The girls are laughing because those working summers were not, I was a moron. So they made me check glasses and help people. I was really bad at it, but they hung with me, and finally, thank you for giving me a job, and I very much appreciate it. So back in the day, I got here in 1980, walked into the locker room. I was big time, man. I was like Moeller High School, Cincinnati. I was all city. I was big time. I walk in and I see Todd Liebenstein, Art Plunkett, Jeff Stewart. These guys are monsters. And I went, uh-oh, I better start studying because I'm not going to make it as a football player. So fortunately, with the help of my wife, she got me through a lot of classes when I was in school. So Amanda, being a student athlete sucks, you're right. I took more than a few labs by myself at night because football was not very conducive to studying at the time. My wife she was an excellent note taker. She'd read to me. Fortunately, we had the same major, so she helped me more than anything. She got me into optometry school and probably out of optometry school. Finally, UNLV's been a huge part of my life for my family. My wife, Kim, I have a degree from UNLV. My son has a degree from UNLV. We'll talk about him another time. So, anybody got the Nighthawks score? So, my oldest son kicked at UNLV for 3 years. He's now kicking for the Las Vegas Nighthawks. So, as a 30-year-old who hasn't kicked a football in 8 years, so it's interesting. So, my son's here also, Quentin. He did not get his degree from UNLV. However, he got his start at UNLV under Paul Pucciarelli. He worked in the equipment room and got a great start on his career. Finally, our roots are deep at UNLV. I love the direction Harp's got going in this program in terms of finding the heart of UNLV again. I'm proud to be a Rebel again. Thank you.
UNLV's reigning three-point king, Anderson Hunt, is a national champion shooting guard who remains the school's only Final Four Most Outstanding Player Award winner. Born and raised in Detroit, Hunt was that area's top player when he chose to head west and join Jerry Tarkanian's high-flying Runnin' Rebels. He didn't wait long to go down in UNLV lore, sinking arguably the most famous shot in program history as a rookie when he nailed a spinning three-pointer over Kenny Lofton with 2 seconds left as UNLV edged top-ranked Arizona in the NCAA West Regional semifinal. Year two was quite an encore as Hunt helped guide the Rebels to the national championship as the team's second leading scorer. He took home the 1990 Final Four Most Outstanding Player trophy after scoring 20 points in the win over Georgia Tech in the national semifinal, and then a game-high 29 points in the final, that romp over Duke. I think we all remember that one, right? The historic title game. In his third and final year before turning professional, Hunt averaged 17.2 points for a squad that many observers still consider one of the best in the sport's history. Let's take a shot at learning more from Anderson Hunt.
Anderson Hunt, UNLV, 89 and 91, and I am a Rebel. Well, baseball was my first love. Coach Washington recruited me to play baseball, not basketball, but it turned out I switched over. But high school, man, once Coach Washington told me he knew Coach Tart, I ain't want to go nowhere else. You know, it was a wrap for me. When I watched them play Georgetown, because back in the day, Georgetown was everything. Everybody had Georgetown gear, and UNLV took them to triple overtime one year. And, you know, I stayed up to like 3 in the morning watching that game. And I was like, who is these guys? You know what I'm saying? They got the fireworks, you know, and they playing against, you know, Georgetown, and they hanging with them, and they not bagging down. So, and then they had some guys that was just shooting. I was like, I want to go there. And one of my fondest memories is, you know, Coach Tark. It's been a lot. It's just being superstitious and never beat Georgetown. And, you know, he would, you know, the whole week, and he was just worried, you know, just nitpick on, just rest in peace. He would just nitpick on little things, and we like, Coach, we got this. We got it. You know, we thinking to ourselves, man, we about to beat them. We about to get your first victory over Georgetown, over John Thompson. So, you know, it was, you know, that was one of my fondest memories, seeing Coach Tark, you know, achieve something that, you know, he haven't, you know, and being a part of it. You know, the fans and all the, you know, just the relationships. It was like, man, whenever we played the last place team in the league, it was standing room only. So you know, it was the students, the fan, you know, the people's in the from the city, the state, you know, the administration. It was, you know, it was like a family to me, because I didn't know a lot of stuff that was going on upstairs, but, you know, as far as, you know, on the court, it was, you know, it was our family. It was us against the world. You had Reggie Thiers, Eddie Owens, Robert Smith, Sam Smith. You got a bunch of guys, LJ. You got Stace, Greg, you got a bunch of people, you know, so I'm just honored, you know, being, you know, only fighting for MVP from UNLV says a lot, you know, and I'm on the list, I'm on the top of the list that, you know, a lot of people don't ever get on, and, you know, it won't never achieve.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join the Board of Directors in welcoming the newest member of the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, Mr. Anderson Hunt.
First of all, I want to give all grace to God for allowing me to be a running rebel. And I have a totally different story than a lot of people. I wanted to come here. This is my #1 school out of North Carolina, Georgetown, anywhere. This is my #1 school. So for that, I want to thank the coaches, the administration, my family members, my friends, and all the people that had a part to do with the foundation, which is hard work, togetherness, and UNLV. That's what it's about. Running Rebels, UNLV. It's us against the world. A lot of people think coming to Vegas is just a tourist attraction, but for people that went to UNLV, this is our life. You know, UNLV, Running Rebels. And also I want to thank the committee for even allowing me to be up here right now. It's bittersweet because a lot of my brothers is not here. LJ, Stace, Greg, Coach Tark, rest in peace. Clee Edwards, rest in peace. Coach Gergich. These are the people, blood, sweat, and tears. Moses Scurry, Dave Butler, Dave Rice, guys like this that we laid the foundation down, and a lot of people that don't know UNLV basketball, it's like they want to dismiss that, but they can't. It's part of the history books. So everybody out there, this is what it is. UNLV Running Rebels forever. Coach Tark, and God bless him and rest in peace. And I hope Coach Kruger, young Kruger, all the best. I'm with you. Whatever you need, I'm with you. And I'm going to try to get Elle, Stace, and Greg back up here. Thank y'all.
Unquestionably, one of the greatest women's golfers in both UNLV and Mountain West history. Therese Koelbaek O'Hara became the only three-time All-American Rebel in her sport before forging a pro career on the links. She is also about to become the first women's golfer voted into the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame. A native of Denmark, Koelbaek made an immediate impact and was named Mountain West Freshman of the Year in 2008 after leading the league in scoring average. The 2011 Mountain West Golfer of the Year led the league in scoring again as a senior after collecting a dazzling 10 top 10 finishes in 11 events entered. She also breezed to the individual conference championship and capped her final year by playing in the NCAA championships all 4 seasons on campus before turning pro. Presenting Therese Koelbaek O'Hara.
I am Therese O'Hara. I played golf at UNLV from 2007 to 2011, and I am a rebel. So my journey to becoming a rebel was, I grew up in Denmark, and I started playing golf at a young age, and when it came time for college, we don't have the college system that you have in the US with college sports. So I started looking at opportunities to combine an education with continuing to play golf. Explore some different options. Coming from Denmark, I was definitely looking for that warm weather. Went to an official visit to UNLV and loved every minute of it. My favorite memory, that's a tough one. I don't particularly have one that stands out, and when thinking about it, many come to mind. They're just the overall experience. I would say I loved school, I loved the golf program, had some great, athletic achievements there, particularly winning regionals one year, NCAA regionals, winning the Mountain West Conference Championship my senior year. But generally just overall, just a great experience, and I loved and still love being a rebel. First women golfer ever. I'm both kind of surprised, shocked, and extremely honored. I feel so proud to have been able to be voted in this Hall of Fame, and to, in that sense, forever be a part of the Rebel program or the history. And I definitely couldn't have done it without great teammates, great coaches, and just an overall amazing experience here at UNLV.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join the Board of Directors in welcoming the first women's golfer to enter the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, Therese Koelbaek O'Hara.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome. It's so great to be back here in UNLV, where I have so many incredible memories. It's been almost 15 years since I first stepped foot here, and it was by far one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, and also by far the best one that I ever made. To give a little more background on myself, I grew up in Denmark, as you saw in the video, and started playing golf at 11 years old. Golf then became really fun when I started beating the local boys at my club, much to their dismay, of course. But that then led me to the Danish national team, and then when it came time for college, coming to Las Vegas seemed like a great idea. So I left my family and everything I knew behind and traveled halfway across the globe and started this amazing adventure. So right away, being part of the golf team gave me such a sense of belonging. I had instant camaraderie with my teammates and my coaches, and it didn't take long to feel right at home. And I can honestly say that I absolutely loved the team that I was lucky enough to be a part of for 4 years. We had such a great time together, so many incredible experiences, and the friendships that I made with my teammates are to this day some of the strongest friendships that I have. To give an example, like 3 out of my 4 bridesmaids were former teammates from college, and the fourth of my bridesmaids I met through golf as well, though she didn't go to UNLV, but nobody's perfect. So, and also, I will say that you truly don't realize how good you have it as a college athlete until you have to go out and make it on your own, handle all the finances, the travel, the logistics of professional sports, and everything that comes with it by yourself. We were taken such good care of. We were staying in incredible hotels, eating amazing food, and overall just given all opportunity to just perform the best that we could as athletes. So I remember when I turned professional and I was going through qualifying school in that fall that I graduated, I would travel down to Arizona to play local mini tour events just to stay competitive. And my husband finally had to put his foot down when I booked a hotel in this sketchy part of town at a Red Roof Inn. And, but you know, life just hits you different when it's on your own dime, I will say. And things did improve from there. And no disrespect, but hopefully that will be my last experience at a Red Roof Inn. And I went on to play on the LPGA and then retired after 5 years of professional golf and now lead a more regular life with a job that actually gives me weekends off. Being part of the athletic department here was such an amazing experience. I just thrived in that schedule, the culture, the travel, the competition, and also the academics. Time obviously goes on, you got different students, the team changes as well, but I truly can't thank everybody enough who are part of my journey here at UNLV, including Coach Amy, who's here tonight. Thank you for Amy. Yeah. Thank you for everything you did for me and for the team and continue to do for the team. And those memories that I made here will be part of me forever. And lastly, I have to add that arguably the most amazing part of coming to UNLV was meeting my husband, who's here with me tonight celebrating. And we've been together for 12 amazing years and now have an incredible little 1-year-old boy at home who's actually being babysat in Arizona, where we live, by my former college teammates. So it truly is like full circle, and life just couldn't be better. So with that, I want to thank everybody for your time. A huge thanks to the committee who voted me into the Hall of Fame. I'm so humbled by this and by this evening. UNLV will always be a big part of my life, and I feel so incredibly honored and proud to now forever be a part of the athletic history here at this amazing university. Thank you.
Jerry Koloskie, unfortunately, could not be with us tonight. He couldn't travel after testing positive for COVID-19, but he oversaw the creation of the modern era UNLV athletic training program, and he never intended to be an administrator. Content to lead the department, as well as teaching and helping manage his craft on a state, regional, and national basis, his path was altered by an athletic director who wouldn't take no for an answer. A certified athletic trainer since 1980, Koloskie moved to UNLV 2 years later. He worked with Rebel football and men's basketball, including 3 trips to the NCAA Final Four, and of course, the 1990 National Championship. In 1998, he was elevated to Senior Associate AD and eventually spent a year as interim athletics director for the Rebels. Jerry also served as chairman of this very Hall of Fame for many, many years, but now he sees his turn to be honored. Let's hear more about Jerry Koloskie from the man himself.
My name is Jerry Koloskie. I was the athletic trainer and administrator for 32 years at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. I ended up at UNLV a little bit by luck. I graduated from Iowa State University in 1982. Had a full-time job there as an assistant athletic trainer. A buddy of mine called me out of the clear blue sky and said, hey, you want to come to Vegas and be the basketball trainer? And that was in July of '82. I flew out, I interviewed for the job, and went back. It was a little better deal for me financially. And so I accepted the job. So it was just really kind of happened overnight. I had no idea that was going to happen, but it turned out to be a very good move for me and my family. I chaired the committee for a number of years, and I put a lot of value into that honor. And now that I'm receiving that honor, I'm very honored. I mean, I've said this many times, and that I think it's the greatest honor that can be bestowed upon any administrator, coach, athletic trainer, support staff person, whoever it may be, and whatever school it may be. I think that's one of the greatest honors that you can have. So I'm very humbled, very appreciative that somebody thought enough of me to elect me into this prestigious group that's going in 2022, but also I know the ones that have went in before me sort of built the foundation for UNLV. So I'm excited about it. I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of fun and certainly a great honor.
Accepting the award on Jerry's behalf is his son, Jimmy Koloskie. And by video, please welcome Jerry Koloskie himself, the newest member of the UNLV Athletics Hall
really
of Fame.
sorry and disappointed that I cannot be there with you this evening. Unfortunately, the coronavirus caught up with me a few days ago. However, to say that I thought I would be going into the UNLV Athletic Hall of Fame is really an understatement. I spent 32 years here in various roles as both an athletic trainer and an administrator, and 31 of those years were the best years of my professional career. However, I never envisioned such an honor would come my way. So for that, I am extremely grateful and humbled. Thanks so much to Erick Harper and the entire Hall of Fame committee for voting me in and appreciating and recognizing the work that I did while I was at UNLV. It is also a great honor for me to be a part of this extraordinary class. Congratulations to everyone. You all were a part of my journey, and I have the utmost respect for each of you, and I am thrilled to share this evening with you, even though I can't be there. Last year, my daughter talked me in to a podcast called Cuddy and the Cooge. If you would like to know the name of the podcast, how we got there, then you're going to have to go listen to the first episode. But I really want to know part of doing a podcast. But now that we've aired over 50 episodes with various guests that have been part of my career, it's really been a way for me to reminisce and recall all those great memories. When you're working in an athletic business, you rarely have the time to enjoy all your professional accomplishments, nor do you have time to really enjoy the people who helped you create those great moments, because you're always moving on to the next event or the next season. Having a career that lasted over 39 years, it certainly would be impossible for me to properly thank and recognize everyone. So to all the administrators, head coaches, assistant coaches, athletic trainers, graduate athletic trainers, student athletic trainers, team physicians, athletic equipment staff members, strength and conditioning coaches, the Thomas and Mack staff, and all of the wonderful donors that impacted my career or worked with or got to know during my career, thank you so very much. I will never, ever forget you. Just know that I am forever grateful for your friendship and your support throughout the years. I want to also thank the student athletes that I had the pleasure and honor of working with, watching them practice and compete at the highest level, and providing me a lifetime of wonderful memories. Thank each and every one of you for allowing me to be a small part of your athletic and academic success. I do want to personally thank and recognize my family, Annette, Johnny, Jimmy, and Megan. I want to thank them for their years of support, sacrifice, and tolerance. For the many times we all had to balance schedules, rearrange birthdays, or family gatherings to fit my schedule. Also for providing me wonderful memories watching you all grow up and spend time with me at work, practices, and during games. I could never have done it without you, without all of your love and your support. I would also be remiss if I did not thank the staff at the University at Albany. It was an honor to work there with some exceptional people and was a great place for me to be able to close out my career. In closing, thanks so much for everyone that came out tonight to support this great class. I certainly appreciate you being there. Thank you again for this honor, and everyone enjoy the rest of your evening.
The longest tenured head coach in the history of UNLV athletics, Jim Reitz, built a legendary career overseeing both the men's and women's swimming and diving programs for 35 seasons before retiring in 2015. A native of Seattle, Reitz moved to Las Vegas in 1976. He took over the reins of the Rebel programs 4 years later, steadily building UNLV into one of the most successful squads on campus. The final tally after his 35 years, 14 conference championships, 29 league MVPs, 16 combined conference coach of the year honors, and 17 combined all-time top 30 team finishes at the NCAA championships. Reitz coached a total of 42 Rebels to All-American status, while his teams at the same time saw a near-perfect graduation rate. To help say thank you, in 2017, the swimming pool inside our very own Buchanan Natatorium was named in his honor. Let's take a deeper dive into Coach Jim Reitz.
Good evening. I'm Coach Jim Reitz. I coach swimming and diving 35 years here at UNLV, and I am a Rebel.
Can you give us some of your favorite memories of UNLV?
I knew you were going to ask that. So I got 1,000 of them. They all run together, and they don't center so much on championships, although there were a few exciting moments. They really center on there's almost 500 kids, the characters, the laughing and the crying, and the adversity and the victories, and we never worried about the stuff we didn't have. But late in the career, a couple things happened. The stature of UNLV academics increased hugely. We were able to get kids and compete against a lot of top schools. Second thing was that I got great assistant coaches, not that we didn't have them before, but increased our budget. We were able to hire full-time assistant coaches, the likes of Ben Lewis, Kunio Kono, whose 2 kids I'm now coaching. And then we created a global brand by having a few kids from Hungary, South Africa, Bulgaria, different places, China, who did really well and went home and told their friends, and that nurtured more. I love UNLV. My children went here. I started here. Just a young, naive coach, didn't know zip, and I grew with it. I grew with the school, and I bleed Rebel Red, and my family does, and my son went to law school here, and so it's a part of this town, and it's a part of me.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join the Board of Directors in welcoming the newest member of the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, Coach Jim Reitz.
As you saw, I ran out of breath after all these years talking. Imagine for a minute that you're part of my team. Can't swim very well? That's what the lane lights are for. Grab onto them. It's January, we're at Coronado, California. It's cold and it's raining, second workout of the day. We've done a 3-mile run on the beach, and we're gonna swim 10,100 meters. That's 6.2 miles. We did another 6 in the morning. No money in our budget. Our team, you now, raised $600 each doing a raffle to your family, your friends, professors who liked you, Rebel Games. That's sort of like raising money to have the privilege of running 12 half marathons, 10 days, in the rain, barefoot in your underwear. Or paying money to get waterboarded if you're a sprinter. As you surmise, swimming is ridiculously hard. And I worked those kids ridiculously hard. Next morning at practice, I think I mentioned it was raining. We were working butterfly. You, my team, just weren't getting it. So I said, okay, I'll demo fly. Yeah, they scoffed. They didn't know my trick. I had enough air in my Levi's and sweatshirt that I could float for about 3 strokes fly. Dove in, 3 of the most perfect strokes you've ever seen. Whatever it took to raise the morale for the team. Fast forward to conference meet in 2015, my last conference meet before I retired, 4-day meet. We were behind all 4 days. Get to the last night, final relay. My senior All-American hurt his shoulder, previous event. I look around at this freshman. You're anchoring our last relay. He told me later it was great that he'd been in warm-up, so his suit was wet because he was so scared. He dove in. Incredible act of courage. He crushed it, won the relay, won the conference meet. Everybody was going crazy, jumping up and down. I just sat on the deck, exhausted, marveling at the improbability that can happen in sport. Team victories like that are for the kids. I had satisfaction, but it's really their team, not my team. My special moments were like when senior Erin Clark in her final relay, not a relay, final event, senior year, scored 1 point in her career conference meet. Shedding tears like I was watching Hallmark. No. If I ever watched a Hallmark, never mind. My life changed when I had my children who are here. I suddenly realized I was going to love them unconditionally, good, bad, no matter what. Started applying that to my team. Unconditional love, minute-to-minute forgiveness, and I was a way better coach. 50 years ago, I was living in the office of a pool closed for the winter, no hot running water, living off $114 a month, coaching bunch of little kids. God had a plan, but I didn't know what it was, and I'm extremely humble and grateful to even be here today. I'm especially grateful to my staff, my peers, Coach Ben, Coach Vaughn, who coached with me, smarter, better than I am, and to the 500 athletes who sacrificed and laughed and cried and loved, who were rebels for life. Most of all, I'm thankful for my wife who sacrificed, raised my children while I was working 24/7. She had a business and a career, and she did this. And also I'm thankful for the grace of God who allowed me to still be walking the earth this time. We have a saying at the end of these team meetings, once a rebel, always a rebel. So I'm going to take a risk here. We may take a couple times. You can do this. I look pretty foolish if it's quiet. Try it twice. I'm going to say once a rebel. You figure out what else. Ready? Once a rebel? Always a rebel. Thank you, Jesus.
Our final inductee tonight remains the schools and conferences all-time leader in receptions, a decade after graduation. Not bad for a California kid who only received one scholarship offer coming out of high school. In his first game as a Rebel, Ryan Wolfe racked up a stunning 160 yards through the air en route to becoming the first freshman to lead the Mountain West in yardage. A first-team freshman All-American, Wolfe, as a junior, would tie the UNLV season record with 88 receptions, while becoming just the fifth Rebel to reach the 1,000-yard mark. As a senior, pursuing his master's degree at the time, in 2009, he joined two-time All-Americans Jamal Brimmer and Randall Cunningham as UNLV's only three-time first-team All-Conference honorees. Wolfe finished 12th in college football history with 283 receptions, while his 3,495 career yards remains the gold standard for the Rebel program. Now let's catch up with Ryan Wolfe.
My name is Ryan Wolfe, played receiver at UNLV, and I am a Rebel. I was a gray shirt coming in out of high school, meaning I took a semester off. Kind of came in the second year of Mike Sanford's tenure. I was recruited by Gary Bernardi out of Southern California. I think a couple of stars aligned along the way. A couple guys got hurt in front of me that first spring. I was kind of thrown into the fire right away. Kind of didn't really know what to expect. I was more worried about where I was going to line up every play, and before I knew it, momentum started to build, and I became the freshman All-American. I think up until a couple years ago, I had the record for the most yards as a freshman. And then after that, it was kind of off to the races. My favorite memory playing at UNLV, what makes me smile is that Arizona State game, I think my sophomore year, when we went into Tempe, upset a top 20 ASU program. I think we just kind of went in there with the mentality of something to prove and blocked a field goal in overtime, won the game. The highlights of the game were on SportsCenter that night. I think Philip Payne's touchdown catch was a top 10 play on ESPN. It's just kind of everything that could go right went right that night, and I still think back how much fun that was. What I'm most proud of in my UNLV career, I think, is just the lasting impact that I made. Coming into it, I never in my wildest dreams would have imagined being a Hall of Famer. It wasn't ever in my sightline of what I wanted to accomplish. For me, it was most important of just first getting on the field, and then secondly, I'm I'm very competitive to my bones, so I wanted to be the best receiver that ever played here. So now, over a decade after the fact, having this honor bestowed upon me is kind of given me a new look on being able to look back at all of the cool stuff that I accomplished and all of the amazing memories that I have of being a Rebel and being at UNLV.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join the board of directors in welcoming the newest member of the UNLV Athletics Hall of Fame, Mr. Ryan Wolfe.
Well, all right. Ready to wrap this up? Okay, so I'd like to start off by saying thank you to the UNLV Hall of Fame Committee for voting me in and putting me on this amazing event. Words can't describe what an honor it is to be a part of such an exclusive club. Those of you that know me know that I hate talking about myself. So I'm gonna take this time tonight to thank some special people who were instrumental in helping me to get where I am now. First, I'd like to thank my amazing girlfriend, Brittany. Thank you for being my best friend, my rock, and unyielding support system. Even with everything that's happening today, my greatest accomplishment is our relationship and the life we've built together. Although you weren't around for my UNLV days, that doesn't lessen the impact that you've had on my life and helping me become the person I am today. And another thank you to the Hall of Fame Committee for putting this dinner on tonight, so I kind of get validation for all of those glory days, stories that I bored her with along the years. But for real, babe, thank you for everything you've done. I love you. Next, I'd like to thank my dad, Jerry, who's here today. Thank you for instilling in me my blue-collar work ethic and intense dedication. Like Amanda hinted on earlier, growing up, my dad would occasionally take me with him on weekend construction jobs. As much as I loved being around my dad, I couldn't stand side projects Saturday. It was very labor-intensive work, and he knew I hated it. But before we'd start work, he'd tell me that he's only doing this so I understand what life could be like if I didn't dedicate myself to school and athletics. At the time, I didn't fully understand what he was talking about, but now looking back, I know that he wanted more from me than what he grew up with. And this was his way of motivating me to be the best that I could. So Dad, thank you for always pushing me to be better and supporting me in everything I do. There's no way I would have made it up on this stage without you. I love you. And then there's my mom, Mickey. Truly the most selfless, loving, caring person I've ever known. She's taught me the power of dealing with adversity, always finding ways to overcome hardships. A breast cancer survivor, I've never once heard her complain or talk about how unlucky she is. Instead, she's channeled her energy into helping others and has raised thousands of dollars yearly in the Susan B. Komen Race for the Cure, where she walks 60 miles in a weekend raising funds to aid in finding a cure for breast cancer. You truly are my hero, and I love you. Next, I'd like to thank my stepdad, Skip, who's here with us tonight. Skip came into my life during a difficult time. I was a stubborn 10-year-old kid upset his parents were divorced, and at first didn't treat him with the kindness and respect that he deserved. Even after months of silent treatment from me, he never stopped supporting and caring for my mom, my sister, and myself. And for that, I'm so thankful. For those that know Skip, know that his energy and personality are undeniable, and he has the biggest heart. So it was only a matter of time that I would snap out of it and realize how truly blessed I am to have you, Skip, in my life. A second father that I could look up to and count on. Thank you for being my biggest cheerleader in the stands and for taking such great care of our family. I love you. And last but certainly not least, I'd like to thank my friend and teammate, Casey Flair. His hard work and determination on the field was both motivating and awe-inspiring. But more than that, he's the most genuine, all-around good person that I know. He took me under his wing from day one and truly taught me how to be a good teammate. The saying, iron sharpens iron, couldn't be more true. Because I knew each and every day, in order to keep up with him, I had to be ready to work my ass off. To quote our wide receiver coach, Chris Sinkovich, you either get better every day or you get worse. There is no staying the same. With that said, thank you, Casey, for pushing me to be better every day. There's absolutely no way I would be up on the stage without you on my team, on and off the field. I'm proud to call you a friend and a brother. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys all coming out tonight and making this event so special for me. I'll remember this for the rest of my life, and go Rebels.
That is what you call one hell of a Hall of Fame class. Let's give them all one more big round of applause tonight.